green infrastructure projects executed by some agencies and institutions of the Ghana government. 2, that before the revocation of the licenses of Gold Coast Fund Management and GN Bank, the loans given to contractors to execute infrastructure projects for government institutions and agencies owed to GN total 1,800 billion, that's 1.8 billion Ghana cedis. 3, that if the government had paid 1/10 of its debt owed, which is 600 million Ghana cedis, to GN in 6 years ago, that's in 2018, neither Gold Coast nor Black Shell will have the crisis we are seeing today. 4, that the debt owed by government to Group Nduom in 6 years, that is in 2018, from 2018 to 2024, with accrued interest has grown from 1.8 billion Ghana cedis to 7.1 billion Ghana cedis. 5, that the government should pay the 7.1 billion Ghana cedis to Group Nduom, and that Group Nduom will pay its customers, including those of Gold Fund Management customers. 6, that the government should enter into some form of payment agreement with Group Nduom and reinstate the revoked license of GN Bank despite the horrible mess and pain he has inflicted on customers and investors, including death. Now, we consider the above enumerated statement made by Dr. Apakwesi Nduom as unfortunate, arrogant, shameless, cruel, and mischievous, and therefore entreat the general public to disregard Dr. Nduom's claim and not accord him any sympathy. This is because Dr. Nduom has been and still is the greatest beneficiary of the suffering and woes we, the victim of the financial sector cleanup exercise, poorly executed by the government of President Akufo-Addo. Questions to ask. According to Dr. Apakwesi Nduom, government of Ghana owed Group Nduom, including Gold Coast Fund Management, 1.8 billion as at the time of revocation in 2019, which is currently worth 7.1 billion, given the number of years the amount has remained outstanding. Granted, this is the correct position. We, the clients of Gold Coast Fund Management, now Black Shell, have few questions for Dr. Apakwesi to answer. Our first question is, how much of the amount 1.8 billion is principal from the deposit customers placed with Black Shell, and how much has it accrued by way of interest as of today? Our second question is, we want Dr. Apakwesi Nduom, we want to ask Dr. Apakwesi Nduom if it is true that the auditors he engaged to audit Gold Coast Advisory's infrastructure development project in 2018 concluded that not more than 500 million Ghana cedis was given out as loan to the contractors. And if that is the case, then does it mean the actual amount of money from Gold Coast Fund Management and Black Shell investments in these contracted certificates will not exceed 500 million, and that the remainder must have been invested somewhere else, which he, that's Dr. Apakwesi Nduom, has not disclosed? Thirdly, from the recent parliamentary committee hearing into the locked-up funds, the SEC indicated that the total value of validated claims filed by customers of Black Shell alone amounted to 5.1 billion, representing over 89,000 claims. Can Dr. Nduom therefore explain how explain to us where the 3.3 billion, which is the difference between the validated claims of Gold Coast Fund Management and the amount that Nduom said was owed to him by government, was invested. If indeed it is true that the actual money of clients' investment by Black-Shell in the said government contractors is 500 million, then the money Dr. Nduom must account for to the customers of Black-Shell would swell from 3.3 billion to 4.6 billion. Again, assuming without admitting that the total sum of 1.8 billion government owed to Group Nduom is from investments of Black-Shell clients, why couldn't Black-Shell tap into the other larger pool of investments of 3.3 billion or 4.6 billion to pay customers who wanted to redeem some or part of their investments? Five, our fifth question to Dr. Nduom is, why did he deceive us for over 6 years that the greatest quantum of clients' investment was invested in government infrastructure projects? Lastly, Dr. Nduom, why did you silently kept 4.6 billion of Black-Shell clients' investment and leave about 900 of our members to die from medical conditions that could have been treated if they had their monies? In light of the questions above, we, the aggrieved customers of Gold Coast Fund Management, are giving Dr. Nduom timeline, 2 weeks timeline, starting from today, June 17, 2024 to July 1st, 2024, for Dr. Nduom to address the following. 1. If you have stated 1.8 billion the claim was owed you is now estimated to be 7.1 billion, then can you tell us how much the 4.6 billion you have silently kept to yourself is currently worth, including accrued interest based on your own interest calculation model used for the reported amount owed to you by government? 2. Excluding the validated amount liable and subjected to the government bailout package. I'm repeating, excluding the validated amount liable and subjected to government's bailout package, Dr. Nduom should come out with a payment plan that would not exceed 90 days settlement plan for the 6 years of accrued interest on the 4.6 billion he has silently kept to himself. Dr. Nduom is reminded to include the 13 months interest gap that fell short in the SEC validation calculation to the 90-day payment plan we are demanding. These are the 3 things we are requesting from Dr. Nduom. If Dr. Nduom refuses to address our requests before July 1st, 2024, we shall be left with no other option to settle the matter with him on the streets. What we don't want, he has successfully bullied the government in the courts. So we can't go to court with him. But when we get to the coconut grove there, we will settle the matter amicably with him. Bawumia, that we still stand by our 30th June 2024 ultimatum for the payment of our locked-up investment from the government. Should the government fail to pay members of the aggrieved customers of Gold Coast Fund Management by June 30th, Dr. Bawumia should consider the aggrieved customers of Gold Coast Fund Management as another political group to contend with in the 2024 election. To investigate why the delayed payment of customers of Gold Coast Fund Management, Honorable Jogati, to as soon as practicable come out with the committee's report, which we believe it will or it may encourage the government to expedite its action on our payments. Thank you and God bless you. Thank you and God bless you.